Every small town has a story, and we're here to shine a light on the people, places, and moments that make ours unforgettable. Welcome to the Small Town Bold Stories podcast. On today's episode of the podcast, I sat down with Madison Morgan of Mad's Glow Studio in Brandenburg, and she tells us about how she brings light to people even in the winter months and makes them feel good with her new business that she started in 2026 and how it has grown so far and continues to expand. I think you'll enjoy this one. Well, welcome to the podcast, Madison. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us about your business and kind of how you got started and what you do?
Well, thank you for having me. So I'm Madison Morgan, and I own Mad's Glow Studio, and so I've done pageantry for 20 plus years of my life. I've been in front of a lot of spray tan artists all across the industry, across the nation, and I kept thinking to myself, that's something I think I could do and I would be interested in. So naturally, I knew that. I know what my skills are. I know where I like. But I thought I can do that. And it brings joy to people. Having a little color brings you some joy. So my husband kept pushing me. And I decided to take the course one random night in January. And we've hit the ground running.
So it's a spray tan offering.
Yes. Spray tan offering for anybody, just because, whether you are getting married, pageants, anything that you're involved in, or even if it's just a random Tuesday and you want to feel better.
So it brings joy, I guess. So you kind of got started in it because you'd been in pageants for a while, but tell us a little bit more about how that came to be, I guess.
So I had been in front of a lot of different artists. I had talked to them and kind of gotten a feel for the industry in itself and this area and the need. I also have a huge networking in the pageant world, so I thought clientele, I would be able to reach out to people that I do know in the industry, which helps. But when I went to Mrs. America in 2023, a woman from Texas actually sprayed me. I was recommended her, didn't know her from Adam. She sprayed me, and then I learned quickly that she offered an online course because it wasn't something I wanted to fly to Texas for. Mm-hmm. I didn't have that type of money ready to invest, but I did have the money ready to invest for an online course. So I did that, and I realized I can absolutely do this. And it has actually exploded. For this area, I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah. So you started when with it?
I think my certification says January the 6th of this year.
So super recent. And
yes.
Then it's just kind of snowballed from there, right?
It has. We're in a tiny little studio in my garage. And somebody actually told me yesterday, they were like, you need a bigger room. We need to have more room. You have so many people coming in and out. And I said, well, you're right, but we got to start somewhere.
Yeah, that costs money. So
it costs a lot of money.
So your husband was kind of the guinea pig on a lot of this, wasn't
he? He was. Bless Dalton Morgan's heart. He deserves a special spot in heaven. I sprayed him at least 4 or 5 times trying to figure out the technique. Mm-hmm. And trying to dial in on the spray tan gun, how much solution you want coming out. So certain parts of him were probably significantly darker than other parts. But, you don't want to test that on people who are paying you. And Dalton wasn't paying me, so we were having fun. But I do feel for him because he endured it.
I guess there's a lot more that goes into it than people would think. I think with spray tan, you just spray some stuff on and you're good. But
yeah,
there's more that goes into it, obviously.
There's definitely more that goes into it. You have to know your solutions. You have to know what DHA, which is dihydroxyacetone, that's the active ingredient in this solution. That's what creates your tan on your skin. You have different solution brands. It's just like vehicles. You've got all these different brands. So you kind of need to figure out where you want to start with. Do you want a universal color that's going to go well on every skin type? When you start customizing things, that's when, you really need to have your knowledge and experience under your belt. What works best for people who burn in the sun? People who tan easy? Do you have an olive complexion? Are you, more red? So yeah, there's a lot of background information that goes into it. There's more science than just standing in a booth.
I just figured it was a spray tan, you spray some stuff and you're good, I guess.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more that goes into it. So you've got to have a lot of different products based on what people want and need, obviously.
For sure. The lowest in the line that I'm using currently, the lightest is a 6. So I have 6, 9 is a medium, 12 is your dark, and 14 is the darkest. So we just went on vacation, and I have trained Dalton at this point to spray me because I have to get some benefit in this. So Dalton is spraying me, and I had him spray me with a combination of a 12 and 14. And you can kind of tailor it to what you want. I do have extra little DHA, that's the abbreviation for that active ingredient. You'll hear me throw that around. I have drops that kind of raise that number. So even if let's say I wanted a 14, and I didn't have 14, I could take that 12 and add some drops, and it raises the percentage.
So you can kind of mix and match to do a customized color.
And for like women in pageants, they obviously want something that's darker because when you're on stage, the lights kind of wash you out. So, up close and personal, you may think they're pretty dark, but on stage, it definitely changes. Yeah, so I can bump their DHA up a little bit, and it looks great. Lots of science.
Stuff that went into it. So when we think about like all the different things that you had to get, what all did you have to have to like get started with this? Obviously, it was the certification, but like what other things did you have to get started?
Yeah, that's a great question. I had no idea, and I saw somebody selling a bundle online, and I thought this is a great way to start. Because when you're going in blindly, you don't know. But I have a tent. Obviously, I have the machine. I have the Apollo Mini Mist. It's been very easy to work with. It's also been very easy to clean, so that's nice. I did get some solutions. You've got all the disposables, so sticky feet, hair nets, nose plugs, disposable undergarments, all the things. There were a lot of things that came in that bundle, and then I've kind of tailored it to what I want since then. I do have like a barrier cream, so before we even get started, I have you rub it on your hands, front and back, and then your feet as well. Not the bottoms of your feet, but the tops and the heels. So anything that will catch a lot of solution and kind of stain dark, you try to put that barrier cream on first.
So it helps kind of keep that from happening.
It does. It helps you from getting the orange that people are scared of with a spray tan.
So that's not normal to be orange.
It's not normal. No,
okay.
It's not.
Okay. If you have an orange one, you probably need to go to somebody else, I guess.
I mean, sometimes it happens, but normally with like a custom spray tan, with somebody actually using a spray tan gun on you, you've talked about the color level that you want to achieve, that's typically not going to happen. Okay. Yeah.
And you have other stuff like add-ons, I guess, too, if somebody wants.
I do, yeah.
So it's not just the tan, is it?
It can be if you want it to be. That's just the base price, but then you can add on scents. You can add on the extra drops that I said, the DHA boosting, so we can bump up the percentage a little bit. I have a CBD option that helps with certain skin irritation, skin conditions, or joint pain. And then your scents are going to be like coconut, pineapple, vanilla, and they're wonderful. So a lot of times the stigma with the spray tan is that it smells bad, which, I mean, sometimes can be true. But with these scents, it's wonderful, and it's not overpowering. So then I also have an option. We can do an extra layer of spray. So we can go over, sometimes people want their legs to be a little bit darker, and the legs will catch pigment better than the arms. So sometimes naturally the arms are going to be just a little bit lighter, so we may go over the arms. Or I do extra setting powder. And the setting powder can be scented as well, but that's what we put on at the very end in like your elbow creases, behind your knees, areas that the skin touches often, like your armpits, and you don't feel sticky. So you don't leave feeling wet and sticky. Yeah, it's nice. But like I said, there's a whole lot more to it.
There is a whole lot that goes into it, I guess. It's not just what I thought it was. So, what else should people know about the spray tans? Like, what should they expect? Time frames, how long it takes, like aftercare, things like that you would do.
Sure. So when you make an appointment with me, I send you a prep, and it tells you what I expect from you as far as like a few hours before your appointment. You don't want to wear makeup. You don't want to put on a bunch of lotion. You want to shave, wash your hair, everything before you come and get your spray tan. Brides or anybody doing pageants, any big event, you want the spray tan to be the last thing on the list. So get your nails done, hair done. Like all of that needs to be before you get your tan. Just because you don't want any of that to mess with the solution. Whenever you make the appointment, we'll get you scheduled. I tell you what I expect in the prep. The appointment itself takes about 30-35 minutes, depending on how nitpicky I get. I'm a perfectionist, so in that sense, I'm going to nitpick and make sure it's perfect as the best I can. So that'll take 30 to 35 minutes, and then typically I recommend we wait 8 hours to shower. So you let that kind of sit in what the spray tan world calls marinate. You let it marinate for 8 hours. So if I spray you in the evening, people sleep in it.
Yeah.
Wake up in the morning, take a shower. Don't use soap. You'll want to just use like warm water whenever you rinse. You won't wash your hair then. It's basically you're letting warm water run over your entire body. You'll see the solution. The solution will stay on you, but you'll see the bronzer come off. So people sometimes think I'm washing my tan off. That's not true. but you'll rinse it off, and then for the next 24 to 48 hours after you're sprayed, the tan continues to develop. So yes, you can take it back.
So
it marinates a little bit more, but the first 8 hours are crucial. You don't want to get wet, no sweating, no skin to skin. So, and I send you an aftercare as well. So I don't leave people blind, just kind of wondering. I do talk about this at the appointment as well. But yeah, a tan typically lasts 7 to 10 days. It does depend a little bit on how well you prep, your aftercare, and your skin type. But for example, we went to Curacao at the beginning of March, and I did everything the best I possibly could. I knew I would be in chlorine, and I knew I would be in salt water, and both of those will strip a tan quicker than like a normal natural fade. And I did the extra DHA drops and took the best possible care I could, just stayed moisturized, and it stayed. You know, it didn't come off in the pool. So.
And are you doing just like one-on-one type things, or like if somebody has an event and there's like a group of people?
Both. I just did a bridal party yesterday. That was a lot of fun. I've already been in contact with the bride to make sure everything looked good this morning. But I'm working on creating packages. I've even tossed around the idea of a membership. I've had multiple clients ask me about like monthly memberships.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I want to come more frequently, what can we do? So I am still working on that. As I'm growing and learning.
But you're like 3 months in.
I'm literally 3 months in. So, but I enjoy it. It brings me joy. I'm a full-time dental hygienist, and that also is something I enjoy, but this is totally different. You know, most of the time I tell people, you know, people are excited to get a spray tan. It makes them feel better. Having some color just brings a breath of fresh air. Most people aren't excited to be at the dentist.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. So it's been very rewarding.
Good. So, like, what's future plans and goals you think for the business?
Future plan to continue being in my tiny studio until we know we're stable enough to
support something more.
Exactly. And then ideally, I would love to go to these bigger pageants. Even, you know, if I were to be able to go back to Mrs. America and spray a ton of clients there. I have already had the Oregon America team reach out. So that was awesome. I was friends with Mrs. Oregon whenever I went in 2023, and she was like, hey, I will absolutely give your information to them. So they've already kind of had me on their radar. So if I can get enough clients, I would love to travel and do that, just to make sure it justifies my travel and expense.
Yeah. So like if people are local and they're doing like a bridal shower, can you go to them? Do they come to you? Like what's the best option for that?
They're welcome to come to me, but I would be willing to travel. I would be willing to be mobile in that sense. The hardest part of that is going to be for me to take my tent down because it's a bit tricky and fit it into that little bag. That'll be it. The gun is easy to carry. I can load my solution up. That wouldn't be a problem at all.
So it just has to be the right thing, I guess, to make sense.
If there are a ton of people and the right area for me to come and set up, I would absolutely do that.
Anything else on this business that people should know about? Obviously, it's probably taken off better than you thought, I felt like, in a small town.
It absolutely has. Today I have a client driving from E-Town. I've had people drive from Breckenridge County. It has exploded. I did not anticipate that. And with having two littles at home, obviously we've referenced my husband already. He's busy. He's working full-time as well. I did not expect it. So I am still trying to navigate. So I am appreciating people being gracious with me trying to figure out the appointment times and T-ball schedules, fun things like that.
You just never know when you start something new.
No, and especially with spray tans, that was kind of like, I enjoy it, but what if nobody else really likes it that much? So it's been very surprising, but rewarding.
So what about people, I guess, that are uncomfortable with it? Some people are like, I just want to go to Suntan City and do the automated thing. What would you tell those people?
And I absolutely respect that. I try to make people feel as comfortable as they possibly can be. So I don't really care what you wear. I don't care if you come in a bathing suit. I've had people do that, or I've had people wear nothing. So I've had it all across the board. I couldn't care less about what your body looks like. I've had people also get in my booth and say, I'm sorry about, this or that. And I'm like, please don't apologize. I don't care what's in front of me. I'm just trying to do a good job. And so that also made me realize all the times I was insecure standing in front of somebody, for a pageant or whatever. When I was insecure about my own body, they didn't care. And that's how I feel. I couldn't care less.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to do a good job for you. I want you to be happy. You're essentially a walking billboard for my business.
That's true.
And I want it to look good. So I do have all the disposable things to make somebody comfortable if they don't come in wearing a swimsuit underneath or something like that. They're welcome to wear their own undergarments as well. It's really up to their comfort level.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. How can people get in touch and book? Tell us that information.
So I am going to have to commit to a software because all the booking right now is through me. All of it is through my cell phone. All of it is through my DMs, which is working fine. It's clearly exploded, but
it's hard to scale and keep up with things.
It is, yeah. And I'm trying to actually write down, what I sprayed on you, and I also try to keep track of, okay, if we did a 9 on you before and you come back and say, I wish I had been darker. Well, we know what we sprayed on you last time. So I'm doing all that myself. So people can reach out to me directly, but that is going to change. Okay. So that will turn into, and that will be a link that I will share directly on all of my social media.
Okay, because you've got Facebook right now,
Facebook
right?
and Instagram.
Okay, and what's the handle?
Studio. Yeah.
Gotcha. So that's probably the best way to connect for the time being and keep up with what's going on there.
Yes, I will keep everybody as up to date as I am.
Anything else people should know as we wrap things up?
Come see me. Let's go. I'm ready. I'm excited.
Let's go.
Yeah, but I'm really excited, and I want to make people feel comfortable. And anything that goes on in that tiny little studio in my house right now, it stays there.
Okay.
So I know people's secrets, and we laugh and talk together. It's great.
Well, if you need to glow, I guess call Madison at Madison's Glow Studio. So
that's right.
Thanks so much for coming on, and hopefully it continues to glow and get brighter and brighter.
That's right. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Thanks.
So you've got a cool story to tell. Something about our community that makes it strong and unique. You have a business. You know someone that has a really cool story about the history of our community or anything else. Well, we want to tell that story on the podcast. So do us a favor and visit smalltownboldstories.com so that we can tell that story next and you get to hear it. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Small Town Bold Stories podcast, brought to you by Next Home Chisholm Realty. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and we'll catch you next time with more bold stories from the heart of our hometowns.